G'day, my name's Chris. Welcome back to the shed. It's time for Flat Tank Friday. Had a pretty good week, got a bit done, and the videos you're about to see were shot over the course of the last week or so. Some of it's been really good, and some of it, well, it's attempt number one and I need to have another attempt at it. It's all gone pretty well. As I said last week, I'm tackling small jobs one at a time and seeing if I can get a good result out of them. All gone pretty well. Let's get started, have a look. Set up again for another simple job. I've wound the left hand side of the bike nut back as far as I want, and I've left about 2 threads on the other side, and then I've tightened this side up. I'm going to give that a quick touch with the angle grinder and cut it off. Then I'm going to put it in a lathe and turn a nice generous chamfer on each end, and that'll be the foot pegs done. I got a couple of threads left this side, no cutter's remorse, and maybe 1 1/4 inch, 1.5 inches, or 30 odd mil cut off, and that's going to look good. Step around the other side of the bike, and I've got a similar amount left on each end, and they'll be okay. Move to the lathe. Nice simple setup in the lathe. That's 5/8 threaded bar, if anybody hasn't seen the previous episodes. Don't know why it is, but that's what it was when I got it, and that's what it is now. It is a replacement bar. The first one was bent so that it would clear the exhaust, but it all didn't work, so I pulled all that out and started over. This is my lathe setup. I've got a multi-fix style post. It's certainly not the original multi-fix. It's made in China, I suspect. And a guy asked recently online, what size tooling do I use? And that's 16mm. So they're all 16mm. I think the holders will take 3/4 or 20mm, but I'm not exactly sure. So let's get into this and get a chamfer on it. Here's a little close-up of what it did. Just faced off the end, put a little chamfer on it, gave it a little file, and then cleaned the thread with a square file. I've done that both ends. I'll put it all back together now. I'm well pleased with that outcome. It looks pretty good. I'm not sure what I'll do about the nut and the shaft and even the rubber and the ill fit here on this outside piece. I don't really like it, but I'm not losing a lot of sleep. I think it looks good. Certainly better than it was. And to have the foot pegs and the exhaust all fitting up, I'm well pleased. Good outcome. Off to do another small job. Here's my fuel pipe. It's version 2 or maybe 3, depending on how you want to look at it. It certainly clears the connector off the spark plug and won't touch it anymore, so that's good. I still don't like it, but it's the lesser of the evils. So we'll follow the path of the fuel pipe. It still comes out of the fuel tap with the filter on it. Comes down, does a little 360 degree turn, so it'll take a bit of spring out of it. You can then see that the spark plug cap completely clear, and this metal piece would touch the bottom of the hose before. Runs across the top of the cylinder, goes down behind the intake manifold, in front of the valves, turns 90 degrees, across the bottom of the timing chest, and back up to the bottom of the carby. I'm not sure I like the look of it, but because the fuel tap's been put by someone else in the wrong place, it is what it is. This is certainly the lesser of the evils and will probably work. It certainly all tightens up okay and is rigid enough and is probably good. So that was a good outcome. I think I'm happy with it for now. If anybody's got any other good suggestions, I'd love to hear from them with sensible, practical, decent suggestions to make this thing work a whole lot better. Here's my advance and retard lever. This is one I found in a box that I had here. And for the astute, you'll notice that I've turned the lever upside down. I had a left-hand lever with a right-hand arm in it, I suppose. Or a left-hand lever mount with a right-hand arm in it. I didn't notice that until I went to put it on, and all sort of went to hell. So I just turned the lever upside down. and that worked fine. So it's one side lever, another side clamp, and the bottom clamp off something else. It's a bitzer, but it's going to do. The bright note is that it actually works faultlessly. Now, not really something to video because it's all boring and it was all in underneath the bike. So come down and you'll see the actuation of the advance and retard mechanism. It's great. Very, very pleased. It worked out very, very well. It took a lot of messing around, silver soldering, unsilver soldering, finding the right nipples to solder on, and a little bit of a cut and a grind here and there. All in all though, it's a job that I'm really happy is done. It's a job that I'd been putting off for ages, but I think it's over now. So that's a good outcome. My enthusiasm level is at an all-time high. My next small job is to do something about the oil drain plug in the bottom of the timing case. So I'm going to bring you in and show you what I've been messing with, and then we'll see if it works. I've got my doubts about this first effort, but come and have a look. These two things are actually the same part. The one on the left is the sump plug, and I've got a few of them in boxes and spare parts. And the one on the right is one I machined down to take a hose fitting on the outside to try and create a little drain plug. I don't actually know what the part should look like. I don't appear to have one in any of the 3 sets of cases I have. So I'm figuring this is going to do. Let's get it over onto the bike and fit it up and then try and attach a bit of hose. So I'm going to zoom you in from the back of the bike. I've dropped the exhaust off and we're coming in over the top of the foot peg and the brake pedal, and in there is the hole for the drain plug for the timing case. So I'll bring you back out and then we'll screw that in and see what happens. From about the same perspective, so it gives you an idea of what I've done. There's the plug screwed in. There's a copper washer underneath it to try and seal it off so it doesn't get all messy, but I suspect it will anyway. The shiny brass bit is the piece I've machined, and I'm going to attach about 20 centimetres of hose to that and see if I can tie it back and make it look good. You're looking in from about the same spot again. I've got the hose on. I even found a hose clamp, which is unusual for me. I generally have every size but the size I want. And then I'm going to try an old can of Tap Magic cutting fluid as a catch can. I have forced that hose into the top and it's tight, so tight that it won't go any further. And I am going to cable tie that up to the centre of the frame about there. I'm not sure you'll even see it, but it might catch a bit of fluid. I don't know how much oil these things leak. That's only a small bottle. It probably only holds a couple of 100 millilitres, maybe. It will say on there. It'll be American and it'll tell me how many ounces. I'll have a look at that off camera and tell you. I'm going to cable tie that up. We'll see how it looks, and then we'll see if the exhaust manifold goes back on without burning the hose or doing something stupid. I'll bring you back in a minute. Well, there's nothing original about that. Hangs a bit lower than I'd like. Maybe it's not the right can. It's 4 fluid ounces or 118 millilitres. It tucks right in there though, and I've cable tied it to the frame around the can and then 2 looped over the can that go underneath the outside cable tie. I think it'll hang in there, and I think it'll certainly save shooting oil out over the road and spray oil out over the bike. The Tab Magic can, that probably suits me because I'm that kind of guy. I like a bit of that, and it saves using a beer can or something else, and it's small and it's neat. Do I like it? Maybe. Not completely convinced. Let's get the exhaust manifold back on, see how everything looks. Exhaust manifold screwed back on, and I'm going to call this attempt number 1 at a catch can. The rubber hose that I've used, does it touch No. But boy, is it close in there to the exhaust manifold. The exhaust manifold must get really, really hot. And I'm going to say that that rubber hose is going to melt, and eventually we're going to have oil and crap everywhere. So that isn't going to work. The can works. And the hose, yes, it works kind of, but not really, because I can't get it to clear the exhaust manifold as much as I'd like. I would have thought it would need a bit of space. It's decent hose. It's not just rubber hose. It's doubled and has got the cloth mesh inside it. But I don't think that's going to work. On to Mark II, I think. Alright, that's Flat Tank Friday for another week. I think things have gone pretty well. Things are moving along at a steady pace, and this is real life. It's not like rebuilding a car on other YouTube channels where you see it all happen in the space of 6 or 8 weeks and everything runs really smoothly. I'm sure the guys shoot it months in advance and you're not seeing real time. You're kind of seeing real time. Everything's gone good. The fuel pipe, I think I can live with it. The lever, I can super live with that. The decompression lever, I've got that coming. It's ordered. It says it's going to be here like on June or something, which is really weird. So I was a bit disappointed about that. But anyway, it's on the way. The oil drain pipe and the oil catch can hasn't quite worked. I'm going to have a think about that for another week and have another go. But it's time to get this video out, so I'm just going to move on from it. I might have another go at the spark plug leads. In the box of parts that arrived, I found these 2 small brass plug lead connectors. They might look a little bit better than the right angle ones I've put on, and they go underneath the screw piece of the spark plug. So I might have a go at that. Anyway, it's been a good week. Hope you've enjoyed. You have a great weekend. Cheers.